Well, we could talk about brain-dead tech billionaires, but let's talk song. I'm very excited to be listening to Mumford Sons' advanced single Rushmere, introducing the album of the same title. I am really confident that we can learn a lot from those songwriting geniuses. So without further ado, let's get going.
Don't you miss the breathlessness, the wildness in the eye?
It's this characteristic and super emotional voice of the lead singer that directly transports us into that Mumford & Sons universe that they have got created. So let's find out keys and chords.
Come home late in the morning light.
So we are definitely in the key of E flat. I think we play a 1-6 minor 4 progression with a little 1-5 cadence at the end. Let's verify this.
The wildness in the eye. Come home late in the morning light.
It's not really clear whether they go to that dominant 5 or not, because everybody expects this, but actually I don't think that they do the domination thing.
Come home late in the morning light.
Morning light. So the melody hints at this domination thing. Morning light. And I'm pretty sure that in the following verses this will become clearer, but no instrument actually plays the 5 chord. Quite interesting.
Bloodshot dreams under street light spells, a truth no one can tell.
Alright, so we have got a very, very clear verse that in its shape repeats. The first verse starting with "Don't you miss the breathlessness?" What a cool line. And the second one saying "bloodshot dreams under streetlight spells." The first thing that directly comes to our attention when we read those words is that there is one spare syllable in verse number 2. Let's see how they solve this.
Don't you miss the breathlessness?
Very interesting metric rhythm as well. So in the first bar, the melodic rhythm actually is on the beat. So on the 1, 2, and 3. Don't you miss? And in the second bar, we change this and suddenly everything becomes offbeat. Don't you miss the breathlessness, right? And in line number 1 from verse 2, it's bloodshot dreams under streetlight spells.
Bloodshot dreams under streetlight spells.
So it's a bit different in terms of metric rhythm, but still we have got this clear contrast between beat, on-beat rhythm in the first half of the phrase and off-beat rhythm in the second half of the phrase. In terms of rhyming pattern, I would argue that verse 1 is an AABB rhyming pattern with the lines "Don't you miss?" and the breathlessness forming the A couple and the wildness in the eye, come home late in the morning light being the B lines. Let's see if we hear the same thing in verse 2 where it says bloodshot dreams under streetlight spells. Not really. So in that case, the AA couple becomes a XX couple. And then we've got a truth no one can tell and I was still a secret to myself. So actually this spells from line number 2 then rhymes with tell and myself. Quite a few liberties they're taking. A in terms of rhythmic development and B in terms of the rhyming pattern. Let's find out if we are entering the chorus after that section.
Light me up, I'm wasted in the dark. Rushmere, restless heart.
That's interesting. So we have got a 1-6 minor something else 5 progression. Quite interesting. Let's find out the chords.
Rushmere, restless heart.
So we have got a 1-6 minor, 3 minor 5 progression with a very, very on-point melody that really highlights the downbeat and that starts on the downbeat.
Light me up, I'm wasted in the dark.
Really interesting in terms of rhyming pattern and line arrangement, because we have got two relatively long lines with Light Me Up, I'm Wasted in the Dark and Rushmere, Restless Hearts. And this, in the end, is like a little tag that we attach to line number 2, but actually the rhyme word is hearts and not the end in the end.
Head out of the ground. Time don't let us down again.
Same thing here. Get my head out of the ground, time don't let us down, finishing the rhyme, and then again as an afterthought to the line. Really interesting songwriting in the, what I believe is a chorus.
Take me back to empty lawns.
Verse number 3.
No fairground crowd when no one knows your name.
Bar missing, really interesting. It says, you say come get lost in a fairground crowd, and we actually miss a beat or a bar.
You say come get lost in a fairground crowd when no one.
So the crowd is the end of the line before, but at the same time forms the beginning of this melodic phrase that's dun dun bum, that we already know from the number 1.
There's only honest mistakes. Light me up, I'm wasted in the dark. Time don't let us down again.
Will there be a primary bridge?
What's lost is gone and buried deep. Take heart and let it be.
Why does he have to autotune?
Don't lie to yourself.
That's autotune on 120%.
There's madness and magic in the rain. Don't lie to yourself.
Alright, the bridge that completely breaks down and starts here.
What's lost is gone and buried deep. What's lost is gone and buried deep.
Alright, so in terms of harmony, we have got a 4-1, 4-6 minor with a 5 as the passing chord, 4-1, and then 5. Remember from other videos that we talked about the primary bridge really creating melodic, lyric, and harmonic contrast to the other section? Well, they did this brilliantly here by starting on the 4 chord and setting this clearly apart from the chorus and verse harmonies that both started on the 1 chord. Also that little pickup thing in the melody, right? What's lost? Well, lost is the word on the downbeat, and that little what's thingy kind of sets this line apart from the other lines. Remember that both the verse and the chorus started on the downbeat and introduced a melodic phrase that kind of did quarter thingies, right? This dum bum bum, da da dum bum bum. Now we have got what's lost and leave room, right? What's lost?
What's lost is gone and buried deep. Don't lie to yourself.
And this don't lie to yourself as an additional hook that repeats twice and that serves as this hanging line that is unresolved. Of course it's unresolved because it wants us to move to this last chorus. Expectation on the 5 chord, and then we've got
Light me up, I'm wasted in the dark. Time don't let us down again.
I don't know why they needed to auto-tune this. Marcus Mumford is a pure and folky singer. The music is so natural and authentic. I don't know why they had to ruin this with autotune, but never mind. Two things that struck me in this last outro chorus. First, they change lyrics in comparison to the choruses before. So there's something we might miss, a whole life in a glimpse while I'm still working it out. We really didn't know from the choruses before. And two, the second thing that I've observed is that they choose reharm options. Listen to this. What's happening now? One chord that they change. Instead of playing the one chord at the beginning, they play the four chord, changing the chord progression to 4 6 minor 3 minor 5 instead of 1 6 minor 3 minor 5, creating a nice lift in this last chorus. Get my head out of the ground. What better way to kind of show this in your music, talking about prosody, than to use this uplifting four chord. They know how to write songs. Apart from my, let's say, disappointment in the exaggerated use of autotune, I think it's a very good song, and we can definitely come up with a couple of songwriting learnings that we can take away from Mumford & Sons' Rushmere. Songwriting learning number 1 is about melodic rhythm. Now, it's a very good idea to be very aware of your melodic rhythm to avoid getting boring. I've seen beginner songwriters rely too heavily on quarter note melodies that are all on the beat. Here we see that we definitely can use alternatives in terms of melodic rhythm, like for example use your first half of the phrase and have this on the beat and have the second half of the phrase of the beat, right? Remember that. Don't you miss the breathlessness. The boring version would of course be don't you miss the breathlessness, right? All on the beat, and by kind of including a little rest there, an 8th rest, and having everything after that off the beat, they create really interesting movement within the melodic rhythm. Songwriting learning number 2 is a little lyric writing tip that you can apply to your choruses, I imagine also to the verses. That is to add a little tag to your second rhyme line. Remember that in the choruses we had light me up, I'm wasted in the dark, Rushmere, restless hearts, in the end, right? So we complete the rhyme before, and only after that we add a little afterthought that is not a line in its own right, but that finishes the thought that we kind of opened with the rhyme word. Really interesting, and something that I have observed in other songs as well. And songwriting learning number 3, the good old primary bridge creates the best lift if you use the 4 chord as the subdominant lift as the first chord of your primary bridge. Why? Because this chord has the potential to create a very, very clear contrast to your verses and choruses that tend to start on the 1 or on the 6 minor. Now, this was my first reaction and on-the-spot analysis of Mumford & Sons' Rushmere. If you liked this video, please make sure to give me the thumbs up, to subscribe to the Let's Talk Song channel. That always helps a lot. To give friendly comments, maybe also suggesting other songs that you would like me to react to. To please take a look at the almost but not quite complete guide to songwriting, available at spectralacademy.net. And I guess we've talked song, you can talk about brain dead tech billionaires now. Bye bye!